Hey, welcome to Screen Rant Terminator fans. I'm Greg Elliott, and Terminator Dark Fate's now out in theaters, replacing Rise of the Machines as the new official sequel to 1991's Terminator 2 Judgment Day, wiping T3 Salvation and Genesis from canon. And while it doesn't turn the timeline into a hot mess like Genesis did, it's still a sci-fi time travel movie, which means lots of confusing plot points and temporal mumbo-jumbo. There will be some spoilers ahead, so here are some of the biggest questions that we still have about Terminator Dark Fate. Okay, I know Sarah Connor's a badass, but our first question is, how exactly did she manage to kill Terminators all by herself for over 20 years? Fans know how hard it is to kill one of these things, and I guess we're just supposed to believe that Sarah just got really good at doing it without any help? Yeah, we know that she knew when and where they were gonna be, but if a rocket launcher isn't enough, how did she manage to kill them all by herself, especially as she got up into her 50s? Next question, if the events in Terminator 2 stopped Judgment Day, then how did Skynet keep sending Terminators after John Connor? Well, basically in the old 2029, before John and Sarah changed the future, Skynet actually sent multiple Terminators back to locations it knew that John would be at. Following me here? So even though the future that they were sent from was changed, those Terminators were sent back before it was, so they still arrived in the past. You know, it's a Terminator film, guys, so let's just agree that that makes total sense. And on that note, why did Carl just only send Sarah times and coordinates? I mean, instead of doing that, he could have, actually showed up and helped her fight them. Okay, maybe he assumed that if he showed up, she would try to kill him right there on the spot. I get that, but also, how did he ever know if she actually survived each encounter? And here's a real serious question. Why the hell does Carl sell drapes? He's a freaking cyborg with a computer for a brain. He could have gone into the stock market and made a killing, or invented some kind of cool future shit. But of all those things, he decides to sell drapes? I just don't know about that one. And speaking of Carl, how would his family not realize that he's not human? I mean, I know he's a great listener and he's extremely funny, but come on, after 20 years, his family must have noticed things like his incredible strength, that he never gets sick, and well, his general weirdness. I mean, what would have happened when his skin finally got old and died, leaving just the endoskeleton behind? Our next question is, after Carl teams up with Sarah, Grace, and Danny, they turn to an old ally of Sarah's for help, Major Dean. So, who is this guy? I mean, I get it. Sarah's been doing her covert paramilitary thing for a long time and has made some friends along the way, but he's only in like 2 scenes, and having the guy introduced and then disposed of so quickly was just a little weak. Alrighty, here's the big one for me. If Legion is a completely different thing than Skynet, then why does it also make time-traveling Terminators that somehow look just like the Skynet ones? It's pretty strange that Legion, while a different entity entirely, somehow resorted to the same tactics of making red-eyed murder bots and sending them back in time to kill people. I mean, why not just make like a bioweapon or a virus and use that to terminate its enemies? I guess we wouldn't have any Terminator movies if we did that, though. And the last question of the day is, if Sarah Connor trained Danny, then why doesn't Grace know who she is? The movie ends with Sarah and Danny taking off to presumably start Danny's training. Considering how close Danny and Grace are supposed to be in the future, why wouldn't Grace know about the person that helped Danny get there? The only thing that kind of makes sense is that Danny deliberately withheld that information, maybe to make sure events would play out as they should. Maybe Sarah dies soon after Dark Fate, but it's still kind of a stretch that nobody would know who she is. Okay, so there are some of our biggest unanswered questions about Dark Fate. Thanks for watching Screen Rant, and if you have any answers or more questions of your own, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I'm Greg Elliott, and I'll see you next time. Peace.